The 1988 Summer Olympics are still going on, so it's time for another collection of sports minigames. The thing is, Konami Sport and Soul had Konami behind it. Donald Duck is brought to us by Kemco. I think this game is the first instance of Kemco doing their trick of releasing the game in different regions with totally different licenses. The duck sprites for Japan get switched out to Snoopy for the US. Donald Duck, of course, is Disney's duck with anger management issues. He has a pretty big following overseas thanks to the popularity of Donald Duck comics, which for about a 20-year period were the best-selling comic books in the world. The game Donald Duck has him flying off to Italy, where he will compete in 6 events. The first player is always Donald, and the second player is Daisy, and in some games they compete head-to-head, and that makes me go, Donald shoving his girlfriend out of a boat in Venice seems wrong. There are 2 ways that you can approach Donald Duck. You can select game, which means you pick one of the 6 events to just try, or you total game, which means you play all 6, get a score for each of them, and if that score is high enough, you move on to the next round. You don't have to do especially well in the first round to continue on, but if you want to win the game, then you'll need to master the events. The first event is Mino Mushi no Game, or the Bagworm Game. This is a sack race in Naples where you hit the A button to hop. There's some manholes that will randomly flip over, but they are super easy to avoid. If one player gets too far ahead, the other one gets moved up, and you can knock each other over by jumping into each other. This event is functional and not too confusing. I'm going to go ahead and rate it 3 out of 3 nephews. The second event is Kutsunake Game, or a shoe toss. Here you have to spin the D-pad to make the boot go around, and hit the A button to throw it when you're at the correct angle. For this one, how you're spinning the D-pad doesn't actually affect how the boot is moving. I can just point in 1 or 2 directions and suddenly it's flying around in a circle, or I could be spinning like a maniac and watch it go very slowly. It's also extremely difficult to time that toss when it's moving fast. There seems to only really be 3 speeds: not really moving, going kinda slow, and flying around. Also, you can only throw the boot in the 8 cardinal directions. It's bad, but it's understandable, so it gets 2 out of 3 nephews. Then we have Hopping Game, which is a pogo stick race through the forum. Here, you have to hit A to send the pogo stick high over the obstacles, and you get points based on how many obstacles you clear. You can't go backwards in this one, and if you get too close to the obstacle, then you can't jump over it. The timing to clear an obstacle is actually really annoying, but the basic technique to get going is just hit right and on your first hop hit jump. There's also only 4 obstacles on the track, so it's not a particularly complicated course. Bad controls and wasted potential on this one give it 1 out of 3 nephews. Next is Otoshiko Game, where you're in the canals of Venice and trying to shove the other player out of the boat. You can do a bit of maneuvering to the left and right to shake the boat a bit, but really all you need to do is mash the A button as hard as you can. It's not complicated, but this event actually does what it's supposed to, so it gets 3 out of 3 nephews. Up next we have Pizza wa Kopi Game. Here you're carrying a stack of pizzas in front of the Leaning Tower of Pizza, and as you move the stack gets wobbly. Your goal is to get as many pizzas as possible across the finish line. You're also on a timer for this one, and you get points for remaining time and number of pizzas. The pizzas are worth a lot more points though. The thing is, the pizzas only tilt forward, so it's not really a balancing game. You just have to keep tapping right, and stopping when the stack is a little wobbly. If you do drop a bunch of pizzas, when it gets down to 4, it seems like you can't drop them anymore. This one's easy to understand but not much fun, so 2 nephews. The final game is Kawatopi, or River Jump. For this one, you have to mash the A button rapidly, then press and hold the B button as you approach the river. If you fail to release, or if you only press the button, you'll just sink down into the river. The timing on this one's pretty tight, and the controls are really confusing. And once you know how it's done, it's not really much of a game, so it gets 1 out of 3 nephews. That building in the background, by the way, seems to be the Castel Sant'Angelo, which would make the river in the distance the Tiber, but I have no idea what river you're supposed to be jumping over. Those are all the events, and so that's everything that's in Donald Duck. And these are not a good set of mini-games. The best one they've got is the sack race, and that one rises to the lofty heights of not particularly good. I don't even see this one being much fun in competition against other players. The only people who might want to play this one are Disney fans.